Now, I want you to look at this advert. And it's an advert calling for script writers, telling them that this is their chance to apply. Now, on the face of it, it appears to be a very good thing. But when you look down, you will see that there are two so-called mentors. One, of course, is a Mzungu, and the other one is basically a coconut, a sellout. And let's talk about this for a little bit, because it concerns me. Any free country should be able to control its own cultural output. But every single time in the case of the worst of third world countries, like the most pathetic of them, you'll find that it is foreigners, preferably the former colonizers, who are always in charge of the cultural output. And also of the industrial output, the agricultural output, and even the political output. In other words, these countries, such as Kenya, are fully dominated by foreigners, by the choice of the people of the country. They are proud to be dominated by foreigners. Now, in this case, we can see that the so-called consultant is a Mzungu from Germany. You explain to me how a Mzungu from Germany is coming to Kenya to become a consultant about scripts. You see what I'm saying? Can you see the problem here? That this is not consulting, this is gatekeeping. So in other words, you hand over your cultural output to the foreigner, and the foreigner is in charge of approving and disapproving the cultural output, which is why you'll never find any pro-African movies or TV shows being made in Kenya. Never. Because the gatekeeper is always a Mzungu. Always. And I would not be surprised if she was also an intelligence agent. Because that's how they do it. They bring all these intelligence people who look like they're here to assist you, in quotes, to do ABCD. But really, they're just dipping their toe to measure the temperature of the political situation and the cultural situation, in this case, in that particular country. They want to see what are the people thinking in Kenya at this time in 2024. And this is how they do it. They're able to get your best thinkers to hand over their ideas. Now, later on, you'll find those ideas getting incorporated into Western artistic productions and movies. And you'll think, oh, that was so original. No, it was simply stolen from Africa. Some gullible African handed over their good idea, their fantastic script, to the Mzungu, who's the gatekeeper. So, and you can see the local collaborator. There's always a traitor next to the master, to the Mzungu. Always. Now, this one, I don't even know what kind of names these are, but you can clearly see even from the names that they don't appear to be native African names. So, this lady has already eliminated herself from the African side, having such unusual non-African names. Not that excuses the rest of you, because most of you also have Mzungu names that you're very proud of. So I'm talking about this in a way to excuse the rest of you, because most of you, are brainwashed, and the ordinary Kenyan is very brainwashed and is a sellout. Given the opportunity to sell out, they will sell out immediately. So you can see she's a so-called filmmaker, and the fact that she has shaven her head clearly tells you that she belongs to the Rainbow Coalition. So you'll see constantly the West pushing the worst agenda for Africa. In other words, the people they promote to positions of power and influence are always people diametrically opposed to Africanness and African culture. And when you read the Willie Lynch letter of how to conquer slaves, is kind of what this lady represents. So it's very, very instructive that now their caption is called Songa Mbele, which means moving forward, but really it's moving backward. So again, if you had any government that had any common sense, there'd be the Ministry of Culture should have its finger on this. But of course they don't, because again, this is a coconut-run country. But I just thought to talk about this so that you can see how easy it is for African culture to be captured by foreigners and then used against us. Which is why anytime you see a movie being produced by a Kenyan, quote unquote, it's always about LGBTQ. Always. It's always about praising reactionary forces. Either to produce a movie about Mau Mau, they will produce a movie demonizing Mau Mau and praising the local sellouts who fought on the side of the British. That is always the agenda. To identify people who are creative, then capture them, then use them against their own population. It's shameful, but this is Kenya in 2024.